Welcome, dear dreamer. Tonight we're not just listening to myths. We're letting the world of Olympus slip quietly into the corners of our imagination. A world of firelight and ambrosia, of moonlit forests and whispered prayers, of beauty so bright it burns. If you enjoy these quiet, scandalous journeys through history, tap like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for a new sleepy story every night. You're safe now. No messages, no calendar, no to-do list. Only breath, only story, only sleep. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Hold it. And exhale through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. Feel your back sink deeper into the softness beneath you. You've left behind the world of errands and emails. You're floating now, light as incense smoke in a sunlit temple. Because tonight, we enter the world of gods, but not the glittering perfection the poets praised. No, we're going to see what it was really like to love a god, to be chosen, pursued, desired, and then discarded. Because for all their power, their charm, their devastating beauty, Greek gods made truly awful boyfriends. They promised everything and delivered chaos. They whispered like poets and disappeared like shadows. They turned longing into legend and left heartbreak in the footnotes. And somehow mortals kept falling for them. We begin not on Olympus, not yet, but just beneath it, where mortal girls still dared to wish. Let yourself drift. You are a girl at a temple. You kneel before a statue, offer honey and herbs, light a flame. Close your eyes. You whisper a name, and the god hears you. But when a god hears your name, the story doesn't always go the way you hope. Our first tale is of Zeus, king of the gods, the sky father, the wielder of thunder. He is everything a mortal might dream of. Tall, powerful, dazzling. He can become anything. A swan, a bull, a shower of gold, a whisper in the wind, a glint in the cloud. He watches from the heavens, and when he sees someone he wants, he comes down. And once he comes down, everything changes. Let's begin with a girl named Leda. She was a queen, mortal, beautiful. And one morning as she walked beside a lake, she saw a swan, pure white, wings outstretched, injured perhaps, trembling. She knelt to help it, reached out a gentle hand, and it changed her life forever, because the swan was Zeus. What happened next is cloaked in myth. Some say it was love, others say it was not. But from that moment Leda was changed. She gave birth to children, some divine, some mortal. Twins, Castor and Pollux, hatched from an egg. Her name was etched in legend, her face painted by masters, her story retold again and again. But Zeus, he was already gone, back to Olympus, back to Hera, back to other stories. No apology, no explanation, not even a goodbye, because Zeus, like a storm, arrives without warning and leaves just as fast. Let that lake go still now. Let the feathers float gently to the surface. Let the image of Leda, kneeling, shocked, alone, fade softly into darkness. You are not Leda. You are only listening, only drifting. Now breathe. Let your heart slow. Let your breath deepen. Because Zeus wasn't done. Next came Europa. She was a princess, laughing on the shore, gathering flowers by the sea. And then she saw a bull. Not just any bull, white as salt, eyes calm and shining, majestic, Gentle, it knelt before her. She smiled, reached out, touched its horn, and then she climbed on. Why? Perhaps to play, perhaps because she trusted it. But the moment she sat atop that bull, the story turned, because the bull ran, not across the sand, but across the sea. Waves churned, winds shrieked, but the bull did not slow. Europa clung to its back, hair whipping behind her. The beach vanished. The sky changed. The water turned cold. She was taken across the world, to an island, to a temple, to a fate she hadn't chosen. And there, the bull became a man, Zeus. He kissed her, promised her glory, gave her sons who would become kings. And then he left, just like before. Europa never returned home, but they gave her a continent, Europe, as if that made it better. She became a legend, but she also became a girl who was taken by a god who did not ask. Let the sea still now. Let the bull vanish. Let Europa rest. She is not here. You are not her. You are only floating, only safe. And the story drifts on. Let the sky fade now. Let the clouds drift away. Let the lightning dissolve into silence. We are no longer under Zeus. We are descending, down, down, into the sea. Because not all gods chase from the clouds. Some rise from the waves. This is the story of Poseidon, brother of Zeus, god of oceans, of earthquakes, of horses. His moods shift like tides, calm one moment, crashing the next. He does not walk. He surges. His beard drips with salt water. His trident gleams like wet stone. And when he comes ashore, the world trembles. To love Poseidon is to live on the edge of a storm. He is magnetic, rugged, ancient, but stable? Never. Let us meet a girl who learned that the hard way. Her name was Medusa. You've heard her name. Perhaps you've seen her face twisted into legend. Snakes for hair, eyes that turn men to stone. But before that, she was human, beautiful, devoted, a priestess in the temple of Athena. She prayed. She served. She kept herself untouched, as the goddess required. And then Poseidon saw her. He did not ask. He did not wait. He wanted, and he took. Inside Athena's temple, a sacred space, he forced himself upon Medusa. The stone walls did not protect her. The gods did not intervene. And when it was over, it was Medusa who was punished. Athena, furious her temple had been defiled, not by the god, but by the girl, turned Medusa into a monster. Hair of serpents, eyes that petrified. The curse was not for Poseidon, it was for the one who suffered. That is what it meant to be mortal in the path of a god. Poseidon went on. He built cities, shattered cliffs, sired sons, and never once looked back. Let that temple grow quiet now. Let the marble grow cool. Let Medusa rest. You are not her. You are only floating in the silence after. Now breathe with the sea, in and out, in and out, soft as waves brushing against a lonely shore. Let the salt leave the air. Let the tide pull away. We drift further still. Another story, another girl. Her name was Caneus, born a woman named Canis, a victim of Poseidon too, but her story takes a stranger turn. After the assault, Canis made a wish. She asked Poseidon to make her unbreakable, untouchable, unable to suffer as a woman again. And Poseidon granted it. She became Ceneus, a man, armored in invincibility. He could not be pierced by sword or spear. He joined the warriors, fought like a legend, but power did not bring peace. Caeneus was hated for being different, for being strong, for not staying where mortals were meant to stay. At a wedding feast, among centaurs and heroes, he was attacked. They could not stab him, so they crushed him. They buried him beneath trees, rocks, the earth itself. Some say he suffocated. Some say he transformed into a bird and flew away. But either way, he was never seen again. That's the legacy of Poseidon's touch. A girl becomes a man just to survive. And even then, survival comes at a cost. Let that battlefield grow still now. Let the trees stop falling. Let the dust settle. You are not Canis. You are not fighting. You are resting, watching, floating, safe. Poseidon ruled the sea, but love was never gentle in his hands. He fathered monsters, shattered islands, punished entire cities for minor slights. He gave, yes, but only what he chose, and only when it suited him. To love him was to risk drowning, even when the waters looked calm. Now, feel the sea recede. Feel your body settle like sand. Let your breath soften again. You are no longer beneath the waves. You are on the shore, wrapped in warmth, listening. Let the ocean be still. Because next, we turn from salt and storm to golden light, to music, to prophecy, to the God who smiled and burned. Let the sea fade behind you now. The salt is gone. The storm has passed. You stand barefoot on warm stone facing the sunrise. It is golden. It spills over mountain tops and olive trees, over rivers and rooftops, painting the world in firelight. This is not the world of Poseidon. This is the world of Apollo, god of the sun, of music, of poetry, of prophecy. He is the light, the golden one, the one the poets adored. He rides the sky in a chariot pulled by fire. He strums his lyre and the birds pause to listen. He sings and the flowers lean toward him. He is radiant. And still, he is dangerous. Not in the way storms are, not in the way monsters are, but in the way that beautiful people can be when they are told no. Apollo does not like rejection, and no one knew that better than Daphne. She was a nymph, a daughter of a river god. She loved the forest, the hunt. She ran fast, shot arrows, danced through branches. She did not want love, not from men, not from gods, not even from Apollo. But one day he saw her. She was a flash of motion, hair wild, feet bare, laughter echoing through the trees. And he fell, so fast, so hard. He decided at once. She would be his, not through charm, not through words, but through pursuit. Apollo chased her. Daphne ran. The earth blurred beneath her feet. Her breath came sharp and fast. She cried out, not for help, but for escape. He gained on her. He called her name, told her she was beautiful, told her it was fate. But she didn't want fate. She wanted freedom. So she called to the river, her father. She begged him to change her, to save her. And he did. In the final moments, just before Apollo's hand could reach her, her skin hardened, her arms stretched upward, her legs rooted to the earth. She became a tree, a laurel. Her hair became leaves. Her heart slowed into wood. Her breath stilled. Apollo reached her, just in time to touch bark. He fell to his knees, wept, pressed his lips to her rough skin. And then he declared the laurel sacred. He wore its leaves as a crown, but that crown came from silence, from running, from fear. He called it love, but it was a chase. Let the forest grow still now. Let the leaves settle. Let Daphne sleep in peace. You are not running. You are not turning to wood. You are only drifting, soft where safe, heavy with rest. Apollo moved on, because that's what gods do. They burn brightly and then blaze elsewhere. But his next love was different. Her name was Cassandra, a Trojan princess, a seer, a scholar. She was clever, sharp-eyed. She wanted wisdom, not romance, but Apollo saw her, and once again he wanted. He offered her a gift, the power of prophecy, to see the future. In return, he asked for a kiss. One kiss. She accepted the gift. But when he leaned in, she pulled away. She had what she wanted, and she didn't want him. Apollo smiled, then twisted. He could not take back the gift, so he cursed it. Cassandra would still see the truth, always, but no one would ever believe her. She saw war coming. She warned her people, begged them to prepare. They laughed. She saw the fall of Troy. She screamed into the silence, and no one listened, because Apollo does not forgive, and no man, god, or mortal handles rejection quite like he does. Now imagine her, Cassandra, standing at the gates of Troy, fire on the horizon, smoke in the air, tears on her cheeks. She told the truth, and was mocked for it. She didn't lose her life for saying no. She lost her voice. Let her rest now. Let her words fall quiet. Let the city behind her fade to ash. You are not Cassandra. You are not burdened with visions. You are here, now, breathing slowly. Let Apollo's fire dim. Let his light grow warm instead of searing. Let your chest rise and fall, like sun over hills. You are not being chased. You are not cursed. You are only listening. Even gods of light have shadows. Apollo meant well, at least in his mind. But love is not a gift you demand. It is not a promise you punish. He left trails of sorrow behind his golden footsteps. Laurels, ashes, silence, and still he is worshipped. Let that irony float past. No bitterness, just observation. Let it dissolve like sunlight in fog. Because now we descend again, not into the sea, not into the forest, but into the ground, to the place where love is most haunting, the underworld, and the god who ruled it with stillness. This is the realm of Hades, god of the dead, king of the underworld, silent, dignified, inevitable. He does not rage like Zeus. He does not chase like Apollo. He waits. He watches. He rules. The dead do not scream in Hades' kingdom. They murmur, they echo, they drift. And yet, even he wanted something. Someone, a girl named Persephone. She was light, the daughter of Demeter, goddess of the harvest. She danced among flowers, laughed with nymphs, picked wild herbs with her bare hands. Spring followed wherever she stepped, and Hades saw her, not in a moment of passion, but in a long, aching quiet. He watched her bloom, watched her breathe, and he wanted. But Hades did not ask. He opened the earth, and from the crack in the soil rose a chariot drawn by obsidian horses. Before Persephone could scream, she was gone. The field was empty, the flowers scattered, the world changed. Below, the underworld waited, silent, endless, cold. But he made it ready for her, a throne beside his, a garden carved from shadows, a crown of polished bone. He welcomed her as queen. He spoke gently. He offered eternity. He gave her pomegranate seeds, 6 of them, red, juicy, irresistible. She ate them, maybe from hunger, maybe curiosity, maybe resignation. But once eaten, she belonged. Because in the world of the gods, food binds more than love. When Demeter found out, the world withered. Crops died. Fields turned to dust. Snow fell in summer. A mother's grief became a famine. The gods negotiated. They begged. They bargained. And finally, a compromise. 6 seeds. 6 months. Persephone would return to the earth half the year and spend the other half in the underworld. Spring and summer with her mother. Autumn and winter with her husband. And thus the seasons were born. But not from joy, from loss, from longing, from a girl pulled underground. Some say she grew to love him, that she ruled the underworld with power and poise, that she chose to wear the crown. And maybe that's true, but no matter how the story ends, it didn't begin with choice. It began with silence, with a crack in the earth, with a hand that did not ask. Let that image soften now. Let the gates of the underworld close. You are not Persephone. You are not being taken. You are only floating through a story. Warm, safe, heavy. Hades is not like Zeus. He is faithful, loyal, solitary. He didn't lie. He didn't cheat. He didn't leave. But he didn't ask either. And sometimes that's the beginning of everything that goes wrong. Persephone became queen, but her crown was forged in absence. Let the pomegranate seeds fall now, one by one. Let the earth grow quiet again. Let Demeter's fields begin to bloom. You are not underground. You are not cold. You are only here, software wrapped, free. And yet, there is more to Hades. Let us step into his halls once more, not for fear, not for pain, for another story. A girl named Minthe, a river nymph. He loved her once, before Persephone. But Minthe mocked the queen, said she was better, said she deserved the throne. Persephone heard, and she crushed her, not with wrath, with transformation. Minthe's limbs became green, her skin fragrant, her voice quiet. She became the mint plant, beautiful, small, trampled easily. That's what happens in Olympus. Even the jealousies grow into myth. Let Minthe rest now. Let her leaves cool the air. You're not her. You're not competing. You're not being turned into anything. You are only breathing. In, hold, out, release. Let it all soften. The underworld is still now, its stories told, its shadows quiet, and your breath is slower, deeper. You've seen what it means to be chosen by a god of the dead, to be crowned not out of glory, but necessity. And next, we rise again, not to the sun, not to the sea, but to the wind, to the god who flies, who flirts, who vanishes. This is the world of Hermes, god of travelers, of thieves, of liars and luck. He moves like thought, quick, sharp, gone. He is the god of doorways, and never stays on one side of them. He's beautiful, but not in the heavy way Apollo shines. He's quicksilver, clever, smiling before you know you've been tricked. To love Hermes is to fall for a breeze and try to hold it. He doesn't chase like Zeus. He doesn't drag you underground like Hades. Hermes flirts. He flickers. He brushes past you with a compliment and disappears before you can answer. Let's meet a girl who tried to follow him. Her name is forgotten now, but her feeling isn't. She met him on a forest path. He smiled like sunlight through leaves. He asked her name, told her she was clever, asked her if she wanted to see the world. She said yes. Of course she said yes. Who wouldn't? He held out his hand, and suddenly they were running, flying, laughing through mountain passes and temple steps. He showed her secrets, stole her apples, sang her stories in languages she didn't know she understood. She thought maybe this was love, but Hermes never stops. And one day she woke up alone. No footprints, no farewell, just a breeze and silence. She was in the same world, but it didn't shine like it did when he stood beside her. And still she smiled, because for a moment she had known something most never do, the feeling of being chosen by a god of movement. But love for Hermes is like everything else, a trick of timing. Hermes means well, mostly. He helps lost souls cross into the underworld. He guides travelers through fog. He invented music, they say, and mischief. But he does not stay, and he doesn't understand why that might hurt. Now step with him, just for a moment, barefoot on soft grass, the wind tugging at your sleeves, the scent of cypress and smoke in the air. Hermes is beside you, telling a joke you won't remember, winking, twirling a coin between his fingers. He says your name like it's a riddle, and just when you might answer, he's gone again. No anger, just absence. Now breathe, longer now. Let the air fill your lungs like wings, and release. You've met the god of movement. You've stood in a space where love doesn't settle, only dances. And next, we meet a god who doesn't flirt or fly or whisper. He doesn't move at all, but he aims straight into your heart. The wind has settled now. The breeze has stopped spinning. The sandals are no longer flying overhead. You are still, and in the stillness you feel something else. A pulse, a flutter, a strange warmth behind the ribs. Desire. This is not the pounding storm of Poseidon or the golden hunger of Apollo. This is quiet, soft where sudden. This is Eros, the god of love, but not soft focus smiling in the sunlight love. Number Eros is the god of wanting, of aching, of reaching out for what you don't fully understand. He carries a bow. His arrows don't kill. They make you fall, head first, helpless, into someone, something, sometimes nothing. To love Eros is to never be sure if it was your idea. Let your heart slow now. You are safe. You are not in his line of fire. You are only listening. There was once a girl, Psyche. Her name means soul. She was beautiful, so beautiful that people stopped praying to Aphrodite. They came to stare at her instead, called her the new goddess. And Aphrodite did not take it well. She summoned her son, Eros, and gave him a task. Make her fall in love with something ridiculous, a monster, a shadow, anything to ruin her. Eros agreed, but when he saw her, he faltered. She was sleeping, peaceful, software mortal. And something strange happened. He pricked himself with his own arrow and fell. Hard. He didn't tell her who he was. Instead, he arranged for her to be taken, carried by wind to a hidden palace. She awoke surrounded by beauty, servants she couldn't see, rooms that shimmered with gold and mystery. Each night a voice came to her bed, warm, gentle, kind. They spoke, they laughed, they touched, but he came only in darkness, and he said softly, "Do not try to see me." She was falling in love with a man she couldn't look at, a voice in the night, a breath on her skin, a secret wrapped in silk. But secrets never stay quiet. Her sisters came to visit, jealous, suspicious. They whispered, "What kind of man won't show his face? Maybe he's a monster. Maybe you're just a prisoner." Psyche, torn between love and fear, lit a lamp. She waited until he slept, and then she looked, and what she saw was not a monster, but a god. Eros, golden-haired, winged, perfect, the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. She gasped. A single drop of oil fell from the lamp and touched his shoulder. He woke, saw her, saw the broken promise, and vanished. The palace disappeared. The servants, the rooms, the warmth, gone. Psyche stood alone in a field, and the only thing she had left was love. So she searched. She walked across the world, begged goddesses for help, even Aphrodite, who hated her. And Aphrodite gave her tasks, cruel, impossible. Sort this mountain of seeds, steal golden wool from murderous sheep, fetch water from a river that eats the living. Each time Psyche succeeded, helped by ants, reeds, eagles, because the world wanted her to find him. Her final task, enter the underworld, bring back beauty in a box. She did, and on the way back, curious, she opened the box and fell into death-like sleep. That's how Eros found her again. He flew to her, lifted her in his arms, woke her with a kiss, and then finally he went to Zeus, asked for her to be made immortal, because if love was going to survive, it had to live forever. Psyche became a goddess. They were married truly, seen equal, but only after all that silence, all those tests, all that pain, because in Olympus even love itself is a trial. Let your breath move now, slow and steady. Let your hands unclench. Let your chest soften. You've seen what it means to be desired by a god, but desire is not devotion. And now we leave Olympus behind, because next we meet someone who wasn't divine, not yet. A woman whose story has been softened into myth, but underneath was an abduction. You are drifting again, floating, not upward, not downward, just still. Now imagine the wind is warmer, the sea closer, the world quieter. We are in Sparta, before the fire, before the war, before the legends. We are here for Helen, not a goddess, not immortal, but close. She was born from an egg, they say, laid by her mother after Zeus came to her in the form of a swan. She was raised as a princess, and from the beginning she was watched, praised, compared, promised. Her beauty wasn't soft, it wasn't safe, it was sharp. People didn't love Helen. They wanted her, wanted to name her, claim her, blame her. She was told she would marry well, and she did. A man named Menelaus, a king, kind maybe, steady, maybe. But Helen was never really hers. She belonged to the poems, to the prophecies, to the desires of others, until one day someone else came. Paris, a Trojan prince. He had been promised the love of the most beautiful woman in the world by Aphrodite herself. And so he came for Helen. Some say he wooed her. Some say he stole her. Some say she went willingly, anything to escape the cage of Sparta. But no one ever asked her directly. She left. That is the fact. She went to Troy, and the world lit up. Ships were launched, swords raised, cities burned, not for gold, not for glory, but for a girl who may not have even wanted to be where she was. Let that settle for a moment. Let the image form. Helen standing at the gates of Troy, watching the horizon turn to war, all because of love. But whose love? Was it Paris, reckless and golden? Was it Menelaus, possessive and wounded? Was it Aphrodite, smug in her victory? Or was it no one's? Just a myth that used her name. Helen became a mirror. Whatever people feared in women, they saw in her. Too beautiful, too passive, too clever, too complicit. Some said she started it all. Some said she had no choice. And the truth? It's quieter than legend allows. She was caught in the middle, like so many women in the path of gods. To be loved by the divine is to become a story, not a person. In the end, Helen returned, back to Menelaus, back to the palace, back to being looked at and never quite seen. Some say she was forgiven. Some say she was punished. Some say she never aged, that the gods kept her beautiful forever. But what kind of afterlife is that? To be admired for eternity and never held for who you are. Let her story soften now. Let her return to the mist. She is not a face. She is not a war. She is a woman, and we let her rest. Now breathe. You've seen what happens when a mortal becomes a symbol. You've seen what it costs to be adored. Too much. Love that begins in prophecy rarely ends in peace. Next, we return to Olympus, not to the stars, not to the sea, but to the hearth, to a goddess who loved a mortal man and watched him unravel. A story of jealousy, of betrayal, of wine, a story where love turns to madness, Dionysus and Ariadne. But for now, let the sails fall, let the wind hush, let the sea grow glassy and still. Sleep in the quiet that Helen never had. You are not at war. You are not a symbol. You are simply breathing. And tomorrow's gods can wait. Let the shores of Troy fade now. Let the sails vanish beyond the curve of the sea. Let the smoke drift away. Let Helen sleep. We are sailing to a quieter island, one with no armies, no cities, no kings, just rocks, waves, and one girl left alone. Her name was Ariadne. You may know her as the Princess of Crete, the daughter of King Minos, the one who held the thread. A clever girl, a quiet girl, a girl who watched boy walk into a labyrinth and gave him a way out. His name was Theseus, handsome, brave, doomed to become a hero. He entered the maze to kill the Minotaur, her half-brother. He faced the monster, killed it, escaped, but only because Ariadne helped him. She gave him a ball of thread, tied it to the entrance, told him to unwind it as he went, so he could come back, alive. She saved him. And when he asked her to leave with him, to escape the island, the king, the past, she said yes. Of course she said yes. They fled together. And for a moment, it felt like a new beginning. But Theseus was not a god, just a man. And men, too, can make cruel lovers. They stopped on an island, Naxos, a place of sea wind and white sand. She slept, exhausted, hopeful. And when she woke, he was gone, his ship already a speck on the horizon, her heart already breaking. He left no note, no goodbye, only the thread coiled neatly at her side, as if to say, "Thank you, that's enough. Let that moment settle. Let her body fold in on itself on the beach. Let the tide creep up toward her feet. Let the silence stretch. You are not her. You are not waking to abandonment. You are only watching, only breathing, only still." But the story does not end there, because Ariadne was not alone for long. Someone else saw her, another god, Dionysus, god of wine, of revelry, of chaos and ecstasy. He arrived not with thunder, but with music, flutes and laughter in the trees, dancers barefoot on the sand, the scent of grapes and myrrh. He found her, and he loved her, at once, without condition. He lifted her, promised her stars, married her, beneath the moon, beside the sea, placed a crown upon her head, and when she died, he threw that crown into the sky, and it became a constellation, the corona borealis, a circle of light, a memory of love. It sounds beautiful, but even here, something is uneasy, because Dionysus is not steady. He is wild. He brings madness, and those who love him must learn to sway with the storm. Ariadne was worshipped as a goddess in some places, forgotten in others. Some say she lived in bliss, others say she lost herself in wine and music in the blur of his world, because Dionysus doesn't just love, he consumes. To be adored by him is to be lifted and spun, dizzy, divine, disoriented, a crown one moment, a ghost the next. Let Ariadne rest now. Let her dance slow. Let the stars settle into place. Let the wine drain from the cup. You are not spinning. You are not waiting for someone to return. You are here, still, sober with story, safe with sleep. Sometimes love from a god feels like rescue, sometimes like surrender, and sometimes they are the same thing. Next, we meet someone who knew exactly how dangerous it was to be near the divine, a woman who wasn't seduced. She was made by ambition, by blood, by fate. Her name was Clytemnestra. But for now, let Dionysus's music fade. Let the tambourines go silent. Let the sea breeze cool your skin. You are not on Naxos. You are not watching sails disappear. You are lying still. The only movement is your breath, and that is enough. The halls are behind us now, the kings and queens, the thrones and the knives. Tonight, we run through open air, through soft dirt and sun-dappled trees, through a story that starts with freedom. Her name was Atalanta, and she was faster than any man alive. She was born unwanted. Her father had wanted a son. When he saw the baby was a girl, he left her in the forest to die. But she didn't. A bear found her, warm-furred and breathing softly. The bear fed her, protected her, and somehow Atalanta lived. She grew up wild, fast, fierce, fearless. She hunted, ran with the wind, climbed trees like stairs. She wasn't a princess. She wasn't a maiden in a tower. She was a force, and the gods watched her with interest. As she grew, word of her speed spread. No man could catch her, not in the forest, not in the games, not anywhere. And when her father, suddenly proud of her fame, decided it was time she married, Atalanta made a rule. "I'll marry," she said, "but only the man who can beat me in a race." And the price of losing? Death. It sounds cruel, but she wasn't playing games. This was her way of keeping control, of choosing no one, of staying wild. And still, they came, one by one, men from across the land, confident, handsome, Doomed. She outran them all. They fell behind, breathless, and when they lost, they paid. Let that part rest softly, not with fear, just a quiet reminder. Atalanta was not here to be won. But then, one man came differently. His name was Hippomenes. He didn't challenge her out of pride. He didn't bring weapons or tricks. He brought something else. He brought a prayer. He went to Aphrodite, goddess of love, and asked for help. The goddess listened and smiled. She gave him 3 golden apples, shining like firelight, smooth as honey. Use them wisely, she said. Drop them at the right time. He thanked her and joined the race. Atalanta didn't know what to expect. Another fool? Another blur behind her heels? But as they ran, something changed. She was still faster, but he was clever. When she pulled ahead, he threw 1 golden apple just off the path. It caught the light. She hesitated, just for a breath, a blink, long enough for him to gain ground. She surged ahead again. He dropped another. She slowed. Again, a heartbeat, and then the third. And by the time she reached the finish line, he was there, waiting. He had won. She married him, as promised. Some say she grew to love him. Some say her heart never caught up to her feet. But the gods were not done watching, because Hippomenes, clever as he was, forgot to thank Aphrodite, and gods never forget a favor left unpaid. One day, overcome by passion, he pulled Atalanta into a sacred temple, a temple that was not theirs, and they made love on the cold stone floor, right under the eyes of a goddess. They say it was Aphrodite, or maybe it was Cybele. It doesn't matter. What matters is what happened next. They were turned into lions, not killed, not cursed with death, but transformed. 2 creatures who could never face each other again. Because in Greek belief, lions cannot mate face to face. Atalanta, once the fastest girl alive, was now something else entirely. Still wild, still strong, still untamed, but never again the girl who ran alone beneath the trees. Let her rest now. Let the golden apples roll softly into the dust. Let the forest close around her. You are not running. You are not racing. You are only breathing, in and out. Atalanta's story was not a tragedy. Not quite. She made her rules. She chose her terms. And when the world caught her, it had to change shape just to hold her. She was never a damsel, never a prize. She was the storm in her own story. And sometimes that's more than enough. Now let your limbs grow heavy. Let your heart slow. Let the sound of footsteps fade. The race is over, and the forest is quiet again. The trees have stopped swaying. Atalanta has run her last race. And you are lying here, still, safe, unwinding into the dark. Tonight we tell the last story, not of a queen, not of a goddess, not even of a lover, but of a girl who was made, not born. Her name was Pandora. In the beginning there were only men, or so the stories go, and the gods grew tired of their whining. One god in particular, Prometheus, had given humans something they were never meant to have: fire. Not just flames, but knowledge, creation, power. And Zeus, king of the gods, was not amused. He didn't take the fire back. He didn't kill the men. He did something else. He created a woman. She was sculpted out of clay, breathed to life by goddesses, given gifts by every divine hand: beauty from Aphrodite, grace from Athena, music from Apollo, curiosity from Hermes, and when she opened her eyes, the world changed. They named her Pandora, all gifted, and Zeus smiled, because she was a gift, but also a trap. She was given to a man, Epimetheus, Prometheus's brother, and with her came a box, or maybe a jar, sealed shut, tied with string, no key. One rule: do not open it. Pandora didn't question. She was new, soft-spoken, unsure. But time passed, and the box sat in the corner, day after day, silent, shining, waiting. She didn't mean to open it. She just needed to know. And when she did, the world shifted. Out flew pain and death and fear and sickness and war and grief, the first heartbreak, the first hunger, the first goodbye. All the things the world had never known, poured out like smoke. She tried to shut the lid, tried to stop it, but it was too late. And so, the myth said, it was Pandora's fault, not Prometheus, not Zeus, not the gods who made the box in the first place. Heron, the woman, the curious one, the gift. Let that linger gently, not with judgment, just awareness. Because even in myth, women carry the blame. But the story didn't end there, because something else stayed in the jar. One thing remained, tiny, glowing, still. When all the horrors had escaped, hope was left, tucked into the bottom, breathing quietly. And some say that's why we survive everything that came out, because hope stayed behind, just long enough to be found. Now imagine her, Pandora, alone in the dark, the jar closed again, tears on her cheeks, and inside her chest, a single glowing ember. Not fire, not regret, but the first flicker of endurance. Not because she meant to be strong, but because she had to be. Let her rest now. Let the lid stay shut. Let the light inside her stay warm. You are not Pandora. You are not blamed. You are not being made or measured or punished. You are just here, breathing, heavy, safe, still. You've seen the lovers and the liars, the queens and the monsters, the gods who promised heaven and delivered chaos. You've walked through temples and gardens, palaces and battlefields, and through it all, you were only a guest. No one asked you to choose, or to run, or to fight, only to listen, to drift, to exhale, to rest. Now it's quiet. The gods are gone. The jars are closed. The stories sleep. And so can you. Because tonight, you've traveled through every kind of love, desire, obsession, control, loss, survival, hope, and you made it through all of it, whole. Now let the myths fade, let the marble crack, let the golden apples roll away, let the crowns fall. All that's left is stillness. And you, breathe in, hold, breathe out. You are not in a legend. You are in a bed, and the only thing left to do is sleep. Good night, dear dreamer.